Now, joining us from Cincinnati, Ohio, Nancy Hagan of Effective Day works with entrepreneurs and business professionals to gain an hour a day or more and be more focused, organized, and productive. Nancy says, I'm not one of those people who was born organized. She started her business over 10 years ago after solving her own problems, and she realized she loved to do it and could help others doing it. She is a certified productivity specialist and university certified executive coach with over 20 years business experience. Nancy has taught productivity classes at Miami University and is a member of the National Association of Professional Organizers. Nancy is dedicated to helping business leaders with simple yet powerful systems that quickly impact efficiency, productivity, and profitability, and to freeing you to do what you do best. I will also paste Nancy's contact information into the chat section so that you can give her a call or email should you need her for professional one-on-one time to help you gain an hour a day. Nancy, welcome, and thanks for being with us today. We are honored.
Great. Thank you, Janet. I'm glad to be here because I love Paper Tiger so much, and I've been using it for over 10 years, and it just took the biggest burden off of me and made things so simple. So I want to help do that for you too. So I'm glad that you took time to be here because that says you're really committed to being more organized and productive. And there's a statistic that says there have been a number of studies done. And typically, the typical office worker, and that includes executives, wastes an hour a day looking for lost information. So if you have Paper Tiger, you can immediately gain at least an hour a day. And in a lot of cases I've seen it's even more than that. And the peace of mind that you gain from it and confidence means so much too. So let's get started because what I want to keep emphasizing is how simple Paper Tiger makes filing, because I know that so many people hate filing, they avoid filing, and I certainly can understand that. You know, you look at a stack of paper and just feel sort of overwhelmed, or you think, oh, I have to, you know, do special colored files, or I have to do certain kinds of tabs and make special labels and everything like that. I know, I've been there. And that's what one of the huge things that keeps us putting off filing. Well, Paper Tiger makes it so easy because you just set up simple tabs one time, and I'll show you how they're set up, and then they're permanent. You don't have to do that again. And having them all set up means when you have something to put in, as I'll show you, you just type in a keyword, drop it in, and move on. So it makes filing so simple and so easy. And then, of course, it's not just the filing part, it's the finding part. And that's where Paper Tiger really shines because you can find anything in 5 seconds or less. You just type in a keyword that is associated with whatever it is you're trying to find, and it will instantly tell you where to find that item. So it is truly a blessing in so many ways. Let's see. So we're going to sign in. Whoops. Now you can, there's a little box down here that will keep you signed in on this computer for 7 days. So you don't have to sign in anew every time because it's really important to open Paper Tiger every day, have it easily accessible. Now this is the version that is in the cloud. There is a software version. In fact, that's what I started with many years ago. But I love the new cloud version, but it just depends. If you have a really good internet connection, the cloud version is a great way to go. If there are reasons that you want to just use the software, it really works the same way. So either way, it's a great solution. So I'm just going to sign in. And I understand from seeing the statistics from those of you who signed up, and we have quite a few people on the call today, but a little over half are already using Paper Tiger. Actually, yeah, quite a bit over half. But then there are also quite a few who are not yet using Paper Tiger. And I think the information that I'm going to share will be helpful for both levels, but I want to help both kinds. So anyway, this brings us to your dashboard. See, it says effective day. This is where all of my Paper Tiger databases are stored. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to just create a new database as if you were starting. So I'm going to call it New Paper Tiger User. And there you are. There we go. So it's right there. And then you would open that database. And then you can start creating your locations. Now, a lot of people find that terminology, they're not sure what is meant by a location. And the way that we use it is saying, here is a location. This is where I keep all my reference files, or this is where I keep all my action files, my projects that I'm working on, or any other category. You know, you might have a location for personal stuff. I know I do. I'll show you a little later, or maybe you saw it on the list there. I have. No, actually, I think it's under my office. So whatever you want to do, it's just a place that you're going to keep, say you're going to do your reference files, and you're going to say it is in the lateral file cabinet next to desk, you know. And you can say the capacity, you can make that whatever you want. I usually do around 200 items with a new client. You can certainly, but you can go much, much higher than that. And then review frequency. Honestly, I don't use that very much, but if your business calls for certain items, like maybe employment, employee forms or something like that being updated, you can add that. But I also want to emphasize that you want to just keep it simple. You want to keep it as simple as possible. I'll show you, you know, all of the various fields in Paper Tiger, but in most of the cases that I see, the simplest, minimal fields are the easiest and the best. So there's our new reference location. Now you see this, when I hovered over that, you see the little edit came up on the right, on the left. And so I'm going to click on that, because if I had forgotten something, and maybe I decided I wanted to make it all in caps, or something else, it's very easy to edit. So it just brings it up again. You can change whatever you want. And then I think we'll do another new location, because everybody, whoops, I took my caps files, and my action files are in my bottom left desk drawer, because those are typically fewer items, and I would encourage you to have fewer items, because those are the things that you use frequently. Now, Paper Tiger software used to, and probably still does, come with already some tabs in it. It has like up to 60 tabs. I used to use 40, but I've trimmed things down a little bit. So what I'm saying is it's very adaptable, very easy to customize for whatever you want. Again, the review frequency I don't really need, and most people don't. But if you have a situation where you do, you can use it. Also, I'll show you where you can have reminders come up in Paper Tiger if there's individual things. So, so there you have action and reference. And I just wanted to give those examples to show you how easy it is to create a new database. That's what we did first, new Paper Tiger user. And then to create the new locations, action and reference. And you could add archive, you could add, basement or garage or off-site storage, or many other things that we will talk about. Now I'm going to go back to, where am I scrolling to? I just want to go back to my, I can't seem to scroll down. Maybe it's hidden behind the controls. Let me see if I can move that.
Click on Hide This button in the green.
Yep. Okay, there it is. It was covering it up. Thanks. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard now, where you can see, all the various databases I've set up. And you probably wouldn't need this many if you just have a simple operation. But if you do have more than one thing going on, it's easy to do. So I have, my office, and I have action, home, and reference, because I like to keep, I also have it downstairs where the files are actually located. But sometimes I like to, look at something or add something while I'm in my office, which is upstairs. So I like to have it both places. So back to the dashboard. Seems like it's being a little slow, but another thing I like to keep track of is subscriptions. Do you ever get a magazine subscription? And then almost immediately, it seems, they start sending you renewal notices. And so I don't have that many magazines anymore, although sometimes it feels like it. But that's something I like to keep track of. Some of them I keep track of how much I paid, but especially when it started, so I can decide, if I'm ready to renew or not. Now, sometimes, of course, you can see that on the label. Other times, it's very cryptic. But that's just an example of one kind of information that isn't something that I'm physically filing, but I can keep track of it very easily in Paper Tiger. So let me look. I want to keep moving along because I want to allow time. So I'm looking at my outline here to be sure I don't get too immersed in just talking about Paper Tiger and all the things I'm doing with it. By the way, the name Paper Tiger, have you ever thought about it? I'm sure you've probably heard that, those words in other contexts. But the name really refers to, it comes from a Chinese expression which I can't begin to pronounce, but it means something that looks as and seems as threatening as a tiger, but is really harmless. And I think that's such an apt description of what Paper Tiger does for us, because we see these piles of paper and we feel kind of helpless and overwhelmed by them. But then once you have Paper Tiger to assist you, it becomes really very harmless and very easy. So it's really a great name that describes something that, the bark is worse than its bite. It's really very simple. It just looks kind of scary. So a good thing to remember, general paper management idea, is that 80% of what we keep we never use. There have been a lot of studies done that have shown that. And so, I encourage you to, especially when we can find so many things online now, maybe you don't need to keep as much paper as we used to. On the other hand, there have also been a lot of studies that show that there is at least 50% more paper than there was before computers were mainstream. So we used to think that, computers, we won't need paper anymore, and yet the reality is that there's really a lot more paper. And a lot of times the things are, we love to hit the print button, but also some of the things that are hard copy in paper are very important. You have to have originals of contracts and originals of various things. So we still have paper to deal with. So, but the good news is that you don't have to file everything that you have in your office. You might have stacks of papers from 2 years ago or longer or whenever. It really doesn't matter. But what you can do is start with the things that are current and closest to you now. And that's usually what's on your desk or your credenza or sometimes the floor, the things that are closest to you. Those are the things that are the most active. So again, all of those, as you go through them, you can refer to the FAST acronym. And the only choices that you have, only those 4 choices: file, act on it, schedule it, or toss it. You know, if you can't do it right now, put it on your calendar, or just toss the paper. That's always a good option, if you know, to reduce the piles. So just think of the acronym FAST: file, act, schedule, or toss. And then also, you need to have your financial business and your personal financial things separate. So when you're sorting through things, be sure you keep those financial things in a separate stack, and later, you know, both for IRS purposes and just general financial sanity purposes, you want to keep your financial stuff separate. Now, that doesn't mean you're probably going to put your insurance papers and a lot of things in Paper Tiger, but I'm talking about receipts. As you're going through stacks of paper, chances are you're going to find receipts and things that you need to hold on to for IRS purposes or bank balancing purposes or whatever. So I'm just encouraging you to put those, keep those separate. Otherwise, you're going to do high. I like to do high-low. The high stack are things like things that you know if you don't do something about them, something bad is going to happen. It's going to bite you somehow if you're not following up in a timely manner, or it's something you need to proactively do something about. Whatever that is, you know the things that are important to you. So I would encourage you to keep those in a high priority stack. And then low would be the things that, you know, if you get around to filing them, that would be great. You're not too concerned about them. And I would, you know, and maybe you're not sure if you can throw them away or not. So I would encourage you to put those in a box, in a closet, or the corner of the room or something like that, because remember the 80-20 rule. 80% of what we keep we're never going to use. So why take time to file all that? Although you can, and with Paper Tiger you can keep everything you want to. You don't have to decide to get rid of it, just as long as you have the space for it. But as much as you can, I would encourage you to just put aside, and then of course if you find that you do need it, you can always, you know, then you can dig through that box in the pile and find it and add it to your system. So I just want to keep you as non-overwhelmed as possible, because that will whittle down the number of things that you need to file considerably. And then when you have Paper Tiger making it easy to file, you'll have it under control much more quickly. One of the questions, I'm not going to get into all the questions right now, but just one of the things that came up is what's the best way to organize a filing cabinet so that it is searchable for employees? And that is another area where Paper Tiger absolutely shines, because we have seen so many situations where somebody sets up a filing system and then that person leaves. Maybe they go to another department or another job, or who knows, you know, there's always some turnover. Well, then what happens after that? Because when that person was there, everybody knew, you know, she knew where to find things and everybody knew what the system, or maybe they didn't, but Mary made it easy for everybody to find things. But then she's gone, so now what? Somebody comes in to take her place and they really don't know how things were set up. So they start their own new system, and then you know, they're doing things their way, and people may or may not be able to find the new things. Anyway, you can see, and we've seen offices where there might be multiple alphabetical systems set up, and really nobody knows where to look for anything. So here is one of the great beauties of Paper Tiger, is that it's just like having a Google search for your office. And you can set it up with various levels of permission. If you want employees to only see, you know, they can have access to certain files, but not maybe the financial records or employee records or whatever it might be. You can set up levels of permission, but anything that they have permission for, they can put a keyword in and it'll say, you know, it's in reference 22 or wherever it might be. So that's one of the great benefits of Paper Tiger. It will save you so much time, and it actually can cut down on turnover, because people get frustrated when they can't find things, and it can really just help the whole office run so much more smoothly. So let's see. Let's go into this Ohio real estate company. So say you're set up and you need to add, something to your action files. Maybe you're working on a new website. Oh, I already had website in there. Okay, so you're working on some new program. That's I hate having to think up new pretend examples. So anyway, we'll just call it the new program. And so all I did was click on New and enter the item name, new keywords, and then it would be, 2012 fall. Like I said, I'm not good at thinking of all those things, but maybe it's marketing, whatever it is. You put in those keywords, and John may be working on the project. Anything you can put in, anything like that. You can put in, his phone number, his email address, whatever it is. So let's call him John Weber is working on it. So that's really all you have to do. You've typed in the name of what it is you're gonna file, and later on we'll get to the digital part of it too. You'll put in whatever keywords, and I at some point hope I get better at thinking of some on the fly. And then we'll just say add it. Now again, here's category, and a lot of people want to know about category. Well, when I first started using Paper Tiger, I thought, oh, that's great, I'm going to give it a category. Well, what happened was I didn't really need to have the category because, as I said, you're just doing a Google search, and it'll tell you right where to go. But I tried categorizing everything. Oh, this is marketing, this is, financial, this is that. And what it did was just complicate everything because I was racking my brain thinking, well, should it be this or that, when I really didn't need to do it. And with clients, I hardly ever use the category. Now, that's not to say that's not valuable if you have a particular need for it. There are sometimes people will keep maybe two businesses in the same office. And so they might want to put this under one. One category would be for one business and another category for another. Then if they needed to pull up everything from that business, and I've known of people who, okay, this business is moving to another office, then they could pull everything together very quickly. So it is very useful where you need it. But I would encourage you, unless you have some really good reason to use it, to just skip it, because it makes it so much quicker and easier to just put in the name of the item, what the keywords are, and move on. Now, again, if you have a particular reason that you need an action date, it's maybe an insurance policy or employee benefits or something like that that needs to be updated on a regular basis, then you would use that. But otherwise, just keep it really simple because Paper Tiger is really simple. And then you might come back later as you're going through your stack and you see something that, oh, I just found this and this should go in the website one. So here again, remember how I showed you how to edit the location that we did? Well, you can do the same thing with the individual files. So here I'm going to hover either over the number or at the margin and hit edit, and then I can put in, maybe I have the stats from the website or information about where to locate that, whatever it is. I can just add that and save changes. So you don't need to keep creating new files or new folders and tabs for every single thing that you file. If it pertains to a subject you've already got going, then you can just add to it. And one thing I should say about that, you want to always have some open file tabs available because, again, it just makes it so easy to immediately file something. So whenever I set up a client, I always set up more than they're going to need immediately. And if we fill them all up, then I add some more. But most of the time, I just use a large enough number that I know that'll keep them going for a while. So you might do 20 or 30 or 40 action items, which are all the current things you're working on. But again, I would encourage you to keep that on the small side, just you know, for practicality and sanity and everything. But if there are things you're in a lot and you can keep it close to you, that's the biggest distinction between action and reference. Is the action files you will keep at the closest, most handy spot so that you can easily access them. Reference can be a little further away, although I still like to, you know, if it's arm's reach and maybe a chair scoot where you can get at them fairly easily. But the action you definitely want to have within arm's reach. And then something like archive. So I can go back out and see it just said that we had successfully added that. And let's see. My Time Warner is a, uh-oh, how did I do that? Did I do something that I signed myself out? But anyway, I don't know why that. So anyway, here we are again. So what was I telling you? Oh, about archive, for example. Now here I created a pretend real estate company, and one of the locations is archive. So those, see the description here? See, right now we're just on the locations. We're not into the individual items. These are the drawers or boxes. A lot of times archive ends up being one of those banker's boxes, storage boxes. And so it's just saying this is in the storage room, because archive typically is going to be something like your maybe your taxes. So you don't need to have those handy that you're going to use when you're working, whatever it is, but you know where to find them and you can easily put your hands on them. Say the safe deposit box, same thing. You're, you know, here it is, PNC Bank, corner of Montgomery Road and 22, in case, you know, maybe I'm out of town or I'm ill or something like that, and somebody else, or if you're working in a larger office, you know, somebody's on vacation or whatever it is, although I guess most offices don't have safe deposit box, but you get the idea, that it tells them where to find it. Now, as far as the key, that's another matter, who you want to give the key. But you can go in and put whatever it is, you know, that you're keeping in your safe deposit box. And maybe it is passport. So I don't know, I can't even think of any other keywords. You know, it's a passport, so I'm not even going to bother with keywords on that. But then I can add it to the safe deposit box. So what I was trying to show you was the locations of different locations, you know. Instead of it being right there in the office with you, you can have it somewhere else. You can also, people have also asked about what other things can you keep in Paper Tiger, and you can keep, just like I showed you, magazine subscriptions. You can keep books, you can keep all CDs, you can keep binders. You know how you get binders when you go to seminars and things, or maybe you have keep office records in there or something. You can number your binders, you know, 1 through 20, and put the name and what information is there. Same thing with your books. You know, you can put in the title of a book. I'm so totally blank and really don't want to take the time, but you get the idea. You would put the name of the book, and then you would put anything about the topic, you know, that you might think of. And we'll add that. My headset was humming. I hope it wasn't on your side. So back to the dashboard. So I hope you see how easy it is. Let me go back in there and make sure. I want to be sure I covered all the fields. So say I'm in action here, and then I think of something that I want to do in reference. So I'm jumping to the location, and it takes me right to reference very easily. And then, of course, I can add a new item. Now, you see these are grayed out because I haven't chosen any particular item. But if I have chosen this one, say real estate license, and that's probably not a very good example of something that I want to edit. Well, I could edit it. I showed you how to hover. That's very easy to do. Or I could throw it in the trash. But here's another great feature. Here, let's use this one instead and transfer it. So say I've updated my insurance. I'm going to keep this old one for reference purposes, but I really don't need it here. So I'm going to move it to an archive. So I don't have to type everything in again. I just hit move. But let me talk about this. Maybe I found something that should really be in with another file. Well, you can merge it with another one again, so you don't have to type everything in again. Or you can duplicate it. I've done that a few times. Right now I can't think of why I did it, but again, these are all options that you have to put something someplace else that you can just very quickly do it, and you don't have to do all the typing again. You just easily move it. So I'm going to move that. I don't think I really will. But see, then you just choose where you want to move it to, and I would say archive. And I could use a date if I needed to. And then, do you want to be reminded to move this item by requiring a confirmation? So yes, if most of the time anything I move is within my office, so I just move it at the time. But if it's something that I'm going to take someplace else, or maybe I'm doing a whole bunch of them at once, then I'll want to be reminded. So again, you have that option of PaperTiger helping you. That makes it really easy for you to do. And then, of course, throwing it in the trash is another item. Here's the confirmation. Reminders you can add if you want to. Well, that's right. I didn't click on anything. So, or I could, if I had reminders in there, or they will automatically come up when you enter PaperTiger if it's time appropriate. So I just want to be sure we talk about all of these different fields and different options. Up here you have reports, which is great. If you want to print something out for a variety of reasons, you might want to if you're wanting to look through your files, or there's a special one for cleaning them out. There it is. But another reason that some people like to do it, in fact, we always recommend backing up your information as soon as you file it, and especially if you're doing a lot of things. And then the other thing is if there should be a power outage or something like that. Once in a while that happens. Look at the people down in the Gulf right now that are, maybe in a point where they're going to lose power, and maybe they need to find something. Of course, that's a whole different topic about what they should take with them and all that. That's a whole different talk. But anyway, I always like to periodically make an item list report, and see, it will pull everything up, and you can print it out. It shows everything that's in my reference, my action, the archive, the safe deposit box books, or you can tell it that you only, and see, here's where you would print it, or you can tell it that you only want, certain things. You can give it the parameters. You can get an action date report, transfer, see all pending transfers. Remember that we might want a reminder of what needs to physically be moved, especially if you're dealing with a lot of items at once. And then this clean out report is really great because here you can clean out your files while you're sitting on an airplane, or sitting outdoors on the sofa, or, on your Chase Lounge or something. So you can just do this by hand. You can print it out. You can give this then to your assistant and say, okay, this is what I want removed, or moved to a different location, or whatever you want. And then you can give it to somebody else, a teenager or an assistant, or your partner, whoever you want that's going to actually do that, or yourself when you get back in the office. That just makes it really easy for you to see what you have and what you want to do with it. So again, the reports are all very customizable. So we're going to close out of that. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and then printing tabs and labels. Again, this software, or either the software or the cloud, makes it very easy for you to do it, and you have multiple options. You can literally print out the tabs and cut them out yourself and stick them in, you know, the little plastic 2-inch clear plastic tabs that you get at the office supply store and that come with your files. Now, I will say your hanging files, a lot of times it is fun to use color. I've used lots of the regular, you know, basic dark army green. Those work really well too, but sometimes it's fun to just use, you know, blue or yellow or something. So that's great, but I would discourage you from using the colored tabs because they're really hard to see through. So either get clear tabs, or else the other thing you can do is print labels, and you can put them on the outside if you want to use the colored tabs, or if you're using the clear tabs, and technically maybe they last a little bit longer, although I've used tabs on the outside of plastic colored folders for years, and they last pretty well. But anyway, you just have lots of options is what I'm trying to tell you. I hope that was helpful rather than confusing. Here's the one that I use most of the time, the Avery file folder 5167, which I believe that's the one for the laser printer, and 8167 is for the what is it? The inkjet printer. So they're, you know, just a very slight difference, but that's a difference. So you choose whatever label you would like, and then you say, okay, I want these to be for action, and you tell it, you know, I probably would want them on the location 1 through 20 because you're printing out the tabs. So then it's going to say action 1, action 2, action 3, and so on. You could have it print out the item title also. So again, you can customize it. You can, you know, set it up however you want to. So here's where you would print tabs and labels for your files. Okay. Let's see. So what you're going to do then, as I said, is sort through your piles. Remember, file, act, schedule, toss, and high priority and low priority. And I remember when I was starting my Paper Tiger, I just went through, I don't know, it wasn't, you know, I do a little bit at a time. Maybe I do an hour or so. And of course, it helps if you can have a consultant help you. That makes it really quick and easy. But it's easy to do yourself too, because what you want to do is set up your files first so that you have those hanging files ready to go, and so you can, as you pick something up and you say, okay, this is this item, and I'm going to type in these keywords and drop it in and go on to the next. So I hope that makes it much easier for you. Now, let's see. I think I'll talk a little bit about the Digital Tiger and then go on to the questions. So let me go back to the dashboard. See, this dashboard still says it's for effective day. I was just in a different database. But now I'm back to Nancy's office. But these are all accessible within my Paper Tiger. My husband Gary has a home office, and you know, then we have home personal papers, and I've showed you the other ones. So let's go in here, and the Digital Tiger, because as much as we still have paper, it's nice on a lot of things to be able to get away from it, because there are a lot of things that you don't need to have in hard copy, and then it reduces the amount of space that you need for file cabinets, because remember, I said you can keep anything as much as you want to as long as you have the space for it. But that's sometimes the problem. And I have to tell you, I just cleaned out my files for the first time in over 10 years, a few months ago. And because my files were getting really tight then, I just hadn't taken time to do it. It was a very good experience. You know, I blocked out some time and just, you don't have to do it all at once, but I took like a half a day one time, or, you know, an hour here, an hour there, whenever I could, and went through them. And it gives you new clarity. It brings up things that you might have forgotten about. It makes you feel really good, you know, as you dump some things in the trash that you no longer need. And my biggest motivation was I just wanted to clear out and have more empty files so that I didn't have to, you know, either add file drawers or make new files. And it was really, really good, because now I have lots of empty files, and it was a good experience. So now, but anyway, back to the digital. Another wonderful thing about the digital is you can have the documents with you wherever you are. So say you have your laptop or your iPad or even your smartphone with you, and you're on an appointment and you think, oh, if only I had such and such a document, and you can pull it up. So let me show you how PaperTiger will handle that. So I'm going to go in here. Well, actually, I could do it right here. And I'm just going to put in marketing. I remember that worked last time, so I'm going to keep it there. Okay, so here is what comes up. Now see this green border? It says digital, 18 files found in Google Docs. However, I also have my physical files down below. See how these are outlined in blue? So here, if I'm saying, well, what I was really looking for was, you know, my bio or whatever, okay, that's in my action file in number 16 in action. Or I have this, but let's say I'm just looking for marketing ideas or whatever. So I have, you know, here are my physical items, pieces of paper that I actually dropped into hanging files. But then up here are all of my files that are on all the pages that I have on Google Docs. You know, this is a spreadsheet. This is a regular document. You know, you can see the different icons that Google Docs keeps. Here's a PowerPoint type presentation. And so it tells you what kind of document it is, and then you can actually, you know, just open it up and take a look at it. Let's see, is this the one I was looking at? Well, I'm not going to do that right now, but you get the idea. I would be able to open it up and look at it and use it for reference or whatever. So that's the beauty. And how did I do that? I did that with one word search in PaperTiger. And it says, here are all your digital documents and here are all your physical documents. So it makes it really, really easy. And PaperTiger has a great demo. If you have a scanner already and you're using it and you want to put them on Google Docs, great, you're set. There's also the Fujitsu ScanSnap S1500, which I don't get any commission for, and I don't think PaperTiger does either, but they have a really nice brief webinar on the PaperTiger website that shows you how to use it. And it's really nice because I've used a number of different scanners. I like scanners, but this is the best one I've ever had. It has a small footprint, and the software with it makes it very easy to send it wherever you want to go, whether it's Google Docs or Evernote or wherever you want it to go. So it's great. So I would recommend, if you're interested in that, to look on the PaperTiger website, and maybe when Janet comes back on, she can tell you just where to find that. So or you can do a little search for it. But anyway, I'm sure it's easy to find there. So let me just look over my notes and see if there's anything else before we go to the questions. Well, oh, yes, I just thought of something that would be useful. So let me go back to, let's see, where was I? Where did I put that? I think it's under the Ohio real estate company that I made. Yeah, yes, here's one we hadn't talked about, seasonal. So we're going to look at that. And this is how you can use Paper Tiger in yet another way in your storage room, for example. You know, maybe you have red, white, and blue napkins and stickers and things like that. And so you put them away in a storage box and you want to remember, where did I put them? And so you can number the boxes and put what's in it, and there you have it. Same thing for Thanksgiving things. But then even if it's not a seasonal, I mean, even if it's not a holiday thing, it can be something else. I bet every one of you has something that, you know, is important that you just use maybe once a year or once in a while, and you forget where you put it. So in this one, for example, you know, a map. It's a Hawaii map, and it's in the hall closet. Or it could be something maybe on a high shelf. You know, I'm going to put in something new. And again, the challenge for me is always thinking of something that's not, I'm based in reality. So let's see. So maybe I have some special photos. Well, that's not a good one, but say photo instructions or something like that. You get the idea. And I'm putting them on the top shelf in utility room closet. I mean, that's not a very great example, but you get the idea. So I'm putting what it is and where I'm putting it, because how many of us have put something away and we know we put it in a really good place, and then we go, oh my gosh, where was it? And we spend time looking for things. I know lots of people that happens to, and I know it has certainly happened to me many times. So that is another way you can use Paper Tiger. So I hope that's helpful. So I'm going to go over to some of the questions that came in, and then in a minute I'll let Janet say if there's any other one, there are any other ones that came in on the little chat section. So we've looked at some examples how to organize Paper Tiger for other things other than your paper files. So somebody says, what are the best practices for using each of Paper Tiger's fields, and how can they be utilized for greater effectiveness? So hopefully I covered that. I think the most important thing is to keep it simple and know that you don't have to use all the fields. They're there for certain things that you might, they might come in handy for, but if you don't have a specific use for it, just keep it simple, put in the item name and the keywords, and that's really all you need. And as you know, an example of something that I didn't even use a keyword. I mean, sometimes the title says it all, you know, 2011 taxes. That's all it is. So you don't have to even use the keyword section. But if you wanted to use that for, say your, I'm going to jump back over to archive. And if you wanted to maybe add, maybe you had a different CPA do those for you, and you wanted to put your CPA's, you know, name, phone number, etc. in there, you know, you can do that too. So keep it simple. It has the features that can customize a very sophisticated operation, but you don't have to use them. Let's see. Oh, somebody asked about, what about daily, weekly, monthly procedures? So for that, I would say the daily thing would be to have it open every day, whether it's the software or if you're using the cloud version. I have it right on my my toolbar. I don't have my regular browser open right now, but I just have it as one of the links that's bookmarked, and you know, is a link right on the toolbar that I can just, you know, PT, and I know that's Paper Tiger, and I just click on it, and then, you know, often leave it open for the day. So that's really important to have it very easily accessible, because then you will use it, and that's very important. We make it as easy as possible. As far as weekly or monthly, I would say you have reminder dates that when you open, that's another reason to open Paper Tiger, to be sure you catch any reminders you might have. But really, you could put in something about, once a year or 6 months or whatever your preference is, to purge your files, to go through, clear things out. Again, you don't have to. I just did it for the first time in 10 years. Other than, now I will say, if I'm using something in Paper Tiger and I see a file or papers that I know are out of date or I don't need them anymore, I do throw those away at the time. But I'm talking about just going through and looking at the whole list of files and going through all the drawers. You might want to have, ideally, I tell myself I like to do that in July and December, because those are usually, quieter business months, but sometimes. But I often don't get around to it. And so anyway, all I'm saying is there's really not much that you need to do. In fact, there's nothing you need to do to maintain Paper Tiger. You just need to open it daily and use it, and then when you are inclined to, or check reminders, and then review it whenever you think is appropriate. So there's really nothing else you need to do. Oh, I love this one. I used Paper Tiger to organize my boxes during a move in 2009. I thought, what a wonderful idea, because if you've ever moved, and I suppose everybody has at one time or another, and you get all the boxes moved, and then you go, oh my gosh, let's see, I want to, and sometimes, we're smart enough to write on the outside, kitchen or bedroom or something, but how nice if we can have those labeled and just put in a few key words that narrow it down a lot more. So I think that's another great example for a way to use Paper Tiger other than for papers. And then, let's see, someone said, I've had Paper Tiger for years and still don't know most of the tricks. Well, I'm hoping that today you realize that there really aren't a lot of tricks that you need to know. It's really very simple. And I'd be glad for you to email me or go to my website. If you have a question, there's something that has been bugging you that I didn't cover, I'd be happy to answer that. And also, I guess I should take a minute and tell you, because let's see, I think I've covered everything else that came in on the questions. I wanted to tell you about, on my website, effectiveday.com, there's a quick, like a 2-minute productivity assessment. It's in the right column, right under the special report or e-zine sign up. That's 5 keys to an effective day. Right below that, there's a how productive are you assessment that only takes about 2 minutes. And if you want to do that and submit that, and there's an optional free coaching session, probably 20 or 30 minutes. And I'd be happy to do that if you're already using Paper Tiger and need some tweaking or just some general help, or if you're debating about whether Paper Tiger is right for you, I might be able to help you decide about that. So feel free to do that. There's no cost for that. And then on my website under services, there is productivity coaching sessions. And you would get 3 sessions, and as well as unlimited brief email questions, and that's for $147. So if you sign up by midnight tonight, then I will also be happy to give you the Gain an Hour a Day webinar series that I did online. It was 4 one-hour webinars that cover everything from email to setting up your files to setting up your office in general to designing your day and all that sort of thing. It's a lot of my signature programs, and I'm selling that for $67, which everybody says is a pretty good bargain, and I will throw that in if you sign up for the productivity coaching by midnight tonight, or I might even let it go overnight. So just go to effectiveday.com, and those things will be there for you. And again, feel free to contact me by email or phone if you have any other questions, or if I can be of help to you in some other way. So, Janet, I think I've covered what I was going to cover. So, anything more in the question box or that you want to add?
Actually, there is one question, and I don't know how to answer this one. You had mentioned Evernote. Do you know how Paper Tiger compares to Evernote, or do you want to address that in this
Well,
call?
they're really for two different uses. I love Evernote because it's a cloud application, and I just use that for little reminders, like, what do I want to, what movies do I want to see, what books, I hear about a good movie, I want to see it. I hear about a good book, I want to read it. Next time I'm at the office supply store, I want to remember to get this and that. Next time I'm at Bed Bath & Beyond, I want to remember to get that. It's a really it's a free program, and then it syncs. I have it on my computer, so if I'm entering a lot of stuff, I enter it there because that's the easiest keyboard to use, and then it syncs to my phone if I'm out and about, and I think of something like maybe a neat vacation idea, or here's the one I use a lot is next time I have 3 grown sons, and when we talk from time to time, it's like, oh, the next time we talk, they're very busy with jobs and family, and so when we talk, I want to remember, be sure to remember things I wanted to ask them. So I put little reminders. I have an Evernote for, one for Ken, one for Steve, one for Paul, and then next time, and other family members, and that's the next time I talk to them, or it could be for your assistant or something. So I do that. But I want to finish telling you, because I know we're almost to the top of the hour, that it syncs in the cloud wirelessly. I don't have to do anything between my computer, my smartphone, and my iPad. And so in any of those places, whenever I think of something that I want to add, it might be restaurants, might be restaurants in the northern part of the city, might be another one for restaurants, on eastern or out of town or something like that. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how you can use it. So it's very complementary to Paper Tiger, but it's mainly just for things you want to remember. You can save web pages there too. So Evernote.com, it's free, and it's great. So I think you'll enjoy it. Okay.
Yes.
I can tell I love it. I had a hard time reining it in.
Software tools that help you are, they kind of excite you. So I can understand that, especially if they help you and help you be more productive.
Right.
Another question we have is, would the digital files feature work with Microsoft Live accounts like SkyDrive? And Paper Tiger Online does not work with Microsoft Live. It works with Google Drive or Google Docs, depending on if you have switched from Google Docs to Google Drive or not. Google Drive, since Google has implemented that, you can install Google Drive onto your hard drive and sync those files back and forth from your desktop to your Google Drive account. And Paper Tiger, or the Digital Tiger feature within Paper Tiger Online, will search through those files for you. So hopefully that answers that question. Also, Angela had several questions, but basically it was the items in Paper Tiger will coincide with the hanging file folders in your drawers. And so what if you have manila folders within your hanging file folders?
Oh, okay, yeah. I should have covered that. That you might want to have manila files you can to subdivide. Maybe you have a hanging file for airline miles, and maybe you have one for Delta and one for is it United or American? I figure one of them is gone. Well, anyway, you get the idea. One for Southwest, and to keep those separate if you have information there. So you can use them for subdividing. Mainly, you don't have to use them at all. They just take up space. But again, if you have a particular purpose that you want to subdivide something within a folder, you can certainly use them. And you would just put those keywords in the same item, edit your item and add those keywords.
Sure, sure, absolutely. Okay, and one other comment I just wanted to let you know about. Tom says, excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone, for attending. I know that we're at the top of the hour, a little bit over now, and I don't want to keep you over time unless, of course, you have plenty of questions. You're always welcome to email us here at sales@thepapertiger.com. I've also pasted Nancy's contact information into the chat section, so go ahead and pick that up while I'm closing out here. Also pasted the call to action. We wanted to begin to start giving you a call to action on these webinars, and I've pasted that into the chat section, but I would just kind of want to reiterate that over the call. First of all, you need to recognize if you need help implementing Paper Tiger or getting more organized. And if so, call or email Nancy today. And again, she's given you a great special if you sign up with her today. But if you see that you don't need extra help, go ahead and get started with indexing the files on the top of your desk. Then schedule time on your calendar, like Nancy said she scheduled some time out. Just block some time out and take one drawer at a time. And before you know it, you'll be organized and working more productively because you can find what you need when you need it.